Welcome to Keep It Humane, the podcast, where we dive deep into topics surrounding kindness, compassion, and creating a more humane world, whether it's in our communities, in the workplace, or in the world of animal control and shelters. With our hosts,
Ashley Bishop.
And Ashley Bishop.
And I'm Daniel Ettinger. This show is sponsored by Tomahawk Live Trap. Check them out, livetrap.com. It is a special episode of the Keep It Humane podcast with Daniel and Texas Bishop.
Hello.
And her, if you're not watching on YouTube or Spotify, y'all are missing out on her PJs. This girl looks more comfy than a Holiday Inn Express, even though I don't know how comfy those are. But you look so comfy.
I am. It's that company. We're not sponsored. What is it? The Big Blanket. The Big Blanket. It's just. This was Christmas 2 years ago, and
Okay.
I'm just. It's amazing.
Well, speaking of our sponsor, Tomahawk Live Trap is celebrating its 100th year of business in 2025. They're a family-owned and operated business who work with humane professionals around the world to produce the easiest or safest. I can read. I promise you guys. This is a live read in radio. This is just what happens. The safest and most effective animal handling equipment available. You can save 10% on their products by using discount code Keep It Humane. Let's Keep It Humane in all caps. No spacing. You can visit them online at livetrap.com or call 1-800-272-8727. Thanks to Live Trap. They got some great stuff going on. Hopefully you can't hear my dog chewing on the antler bone that we found in the woods of Colorado a couple years ago, and he still has it. Most veterinarians will tell you not to let your dog chew on those things because they can break teeth. So,
Yeah.
but he has very nice pearly white teeth. He's doing good.
I don't get that luxury. I own Chihuahuas.
I was going to ask, they probably only chew on ankles.
Okay, rude. Both of you, rude. First of all, I have the best Chihuahuas in the world. Okay, literally. If
You
they were
did.
little,
You do. They always look so happy.
if they were little assholes, I would be honest about it, but they're not.
Speaking of little assholes, do you think there'll ever be a day in this profession where there's just not people complaining about everything we do?
No.
No.
No. It seems like no matter what we do, there's always going to be the critics. Always, always, always. And so I just want to tell the critics that maybe focus your time and energy on ways to continue to help the community through like responsible pet ownership, humane education, access to care. Don't criticize the shelter that's doing their damn best with staff that is probably burned out because it's overcrowded. They got so many animals, they don't have enough staff. Like, can y'all leave us alone? That's all I'm asking.
We've had a day today too.
I saw you had a day today. Man.
It's been a day, and like we're having a lot of old cases pop up right now too.
Ugh.
And it's like I got an email from another department that's trying to join all these other departments together on this one area. And I'm like, can you just give me a break? Like this week we're dealing with one old case. Next week is going to be another one. Like give me some time to think.
It's I love the work that we do, and shout out to all the people that do the hard work, because I feel you and I've been in your shoes in one way or another. And so I feel like some of the kennel work that's done in this country is so undervalued by not only our profession but just in general. I think we really undervalue it by I, I, and I know
By
you
everything, by
like
pay, by
yes.
it's and not that I don't help in the back, because yes, I'm always helping in the back when my staff needs help. But God, man, I just every time I help after it's been a hot minute, I'm like, my body's old. Like, how do you guys do this every day? I just can't. Like, I can't anymore.
It's rough, and I think we have to figure out ways to really support that group as well. And that
Oh
again,
yeah.
it starts with us and like paying them whatever. I mean, I'm sure they don't pay well in most places, whether it's $15 an hour. I was looking, actually, a friend sent me a posting for a job that they are applying to for animal control in Southern California, and it's with a nonprofit, but they literally paid our ACOs $15 to $20 an hour. Are you kidding me?
In
Absolutely
California, that's crazy.
What are we talking about? What are we doing here? Like, I know maybe it's to get people into the profession, but we're talking about what is it, $15 to $20 an hour? Like, I feel bad. So I hope they get the job, and I hope they can change some of the standards for that department. All right, let's introduce. We've put it off long enough, in more ways than one. I would like to introduce the 2024 Animal Control Officer of the Year, and that's Jessica Solano. Welcome to the Now Keep It Humane podcast. It's been so long that we even changed the name by the time you won. We're so excited to have you, and I just want our listeners to know and understand. And if they listen to the announcement, which was the first show of 2025 under the new name, Keep It Humane, uh, man, you got a ton of nominations, and we really didn't set it up for like it wasn't like a popularity contest. We didn't set it up to like who had the most people, because we had quite a few. But how do you touch your community so deeply that they all like showed up for you?
They can relate. I often relate to the community. I am the officer. I'm always in the field, and majority of my calls, they end up being more education than actually me sitting there and hitting them with all of the laws. I actually work in the neighborhoods that I grew up in. So I am a South officer and I grew up in the South. And so I feel like I can truly relate to the people in my neighborhood, where the community that we serve, it's a huge melting pot of cultures. And with that, like, I'm always interested when I go into a call, I always have to take into consideration, this community and this community, they're going to believe in different things. And so I try to do as much research before I go into a call, before I actually make contact. Like, I want to know the ethnicity. I want to know what's going on, because everybody does things a little differently. And so a lot of the things that look like neglect to somebody else is common practice for them. And so a lot of it is just really education and being understanding and communicating.
Say it louder for the people in the back, Jessica.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we're not saying it's right. It's just how cultures are.
Yes.
How did you get your start like in this profession? How long you been doing it now?
I have worked for animal control for 10 years. I was a nerd in high school. I was a little FFA kid with the blue corduroy jacket and the all white, showing my lamb. I won reserve grand champion. I was a total nerd.
You've been winning all your life.
Yeah. Then I went on to college. I went to school for agriculture business originally. Then it turned into veterinary technology. Then it turned into animal science. I ended up with a degree in animal science, specializing in equine, and I'm terrified of horses now. So it's a very strange thing going on, and so I'm working over that fear right now. But I knew I've always wanted to work with animals. Originally, I worked for our public transit police department, and so when I finished school, I applied for animal control. I worked in the kennel for 5 years, and then 5 years later, I got the officer position. Then my 5-year anniversary is actually coming up on March 1st.
Well, congrats. That's awesome.
So what kind of brought you to wanting to do animal control? Because, you, myself, and Ashley all kind of have the same pathway, like I was a band nerd. Shouts out to all the band nerds out there. And I always wanted to go into vet school, but then, when I saw everything in that world, I was like, it's just not for me. I'm not going to use the surgery aspect of things. So when I started volunteering in a municipal shelter, I was like, this is it. I found my calling. So what was it that triggered your calling to move on to animal control?
So fun fact is, when I was in vet tech school, we had to do our rotations. And I was that student that refused to do my rotation at the animal shelter because I had it in my head, that bad stigma that, oh, well, they don't really care. They're just going to euthanize. So this was 16 years ago. A lot has changed in 16 years. So I always did my rotation at a community vet. Believe it or not, it was a group of first responders that I hung out with. I used to be a show off and I used to compete in CrossFit. And a lot of the people that I was at the gym with, they volunteered some way at animal shelters. And so one of the detectives at my CrossFit gym volunteered religiously at the animal shelter. And she was like, you need to apply. You need to get out of the police department and you need to go over to animal control because that is your calling. I applied, I ranked one, I got the position, and 10 years strong.
Let's go. That's awesome. So again, I want people to go back and listen to the ACO of the Year nomination because your son wrote up a just an amazing nomination for you. Is he home right now?
He is home. Look, he
You better tell him to come over here. He better get behind the camera right
Come here,
now.
baby.
He better get behind the camera. We need to see a face to this name. Hello.
Hey.
Can you introduce yourself?
Embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed. Just introduce yourself. Like, look, we're just having a chat.
Hi, my name is Mikey Brown.
Hey, Mikey.
I'm 14 years old. And yeah,
Hey, Mikey, have you ever been on a podcast before?
no.
Well, now it's your first time. Can you tell us a little bit what inspired you to write that awesome nomination for your mom, man?
Yeah, I don't know if my mom won it or not. So I just decided, try to help her win.
Okay.
He wanted
Simple
his mom
enough.
to win, so he wrote it.
You proud of her?
Yeah.
Yeah, she seems like a good mom, man. I appreciate you sending that in. It took all of us. We didn't expect that. We weren't ready for someone's kiddo to give
Mhm.
such a heartfelt nomination, man. It's obvious you love your mom, and it showed on that nomination. So good job, Mikey.
Agreed.
Thank you,
you.
Mooch Man.
He's like, get me out of here.
He's
They ain't
like,
playing. They ain't playing Fortnite on there. I'm
right.
out.
He said, I'm only used to talking to people when I'm playing the game. I don't know what to do.
What does it mean to you to have your kids be such an important part of like your career and then understanding what you do?
You know what? It's amazing. Like he said, it used to get to him when mom couldn't show up to the football games, and he understood that there'll be another football game because that's his thing. He wants to pursue football. And he all three of my kids, they love animals. And so when I bring fosters home, everybody helps. And so they really enjoy that. So he has the luxury of seeing the 30-pound neglected pit bull stay with us for 4 months. When I bring something home, I always find an adopter for it. I don't like taking it back to the shelter. So I leave it at my house until I find an adopter. And so he gets to watch them from, the lowest of the lowest to living their best life once they get adopted. And so I know that he takes pride in that because he's like, yeah, I helped did that. I did that.
That's really cool.
So yeah, all three of my kids. And then Marshawn, who you met earlier, he has autism. And so we always say animals is his flavor of autism because he just loves animals.
Gravitates right to him, huh?
Right to him. He's fearless. It makes me a little nervous, but he's fearless.
But I feel like they get him, right? Like as soon as they meet him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. Look, I'm just watching Ashley's face, man, and just hearing the story is so touching to her. And I think
it's just so sweet, you know what I mean? It's just, they I didn't have anybody in my family that grew up in our industry or like were there wasn't a lot of animals in our family. And for whatever reason, I gravitated towards vet meds and animals and shelters. So, it makes my heart happy to see generations below us kind of see what the reality is of what we do. And, that's awesome. Like reading through what your son wrote about you is just, it was amazing to read. And it's just great to see that he can see and process everything that you've gone through and what you're doing as your profession, and see it as something that maybe someday he would want to do down the line or just aspirate to be just like you.
Yeah, I always make the joke because with my two oldest, I was actually still in school. And so I was like, well, you guys know so much because you guys were learning at the same time I was. With my oldest daughter, I actually went into labor deworming my grandmother's pygmy goat.
That's so funny.
And then with him, I was cleaning horse hooves 8 months pregnant with him. And so I was like, you guys just caught all that knowledge the whole time I was learning when you guys were in utero. So I was like, you're welcome.
That's cool. And I think the job that we do, it shows that strong work ethic. And I know everybody has a different approach to work. And I value that. I talk about work-life balance all the time, but sometimes when you're invested in this and you want to continue to grow in your career, you do put that extra work in. You want to
Absolutely.
be there for the animals and be there for the community. I want to get into this, and I know it's going to get probably I would imagine there's a little emotion around it. So when I was kind of doing my homework on you and went to your TikTok, I did see some posts about this dog attack that happened. And, people don't really talk about it that often, how dangerous this job really is. And not only is it dangerous from the aspects of people that we deal with, but it can be dangerous with the animals that we deal with. And I was just hoping you would share a little bit about that experience and how you've recovered from it, because that could be an inspiration for others. And what like I guess what has changed, if anything has changed?
Yeah. It was a standby call. Our agency, we are 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So there's no time to sleep. I was dispatched out a little after midnight for aggressive dogs. I get out there, they're kind of like intertwined. They're on one leash and they wrap themselves around a fire hydrant. So when I first get out, they were chill. They were sitting there. The one that actually bit me, he started wagging his tail and they're looking at me. As soon as I get out my vehicle, I went to take a picture and my phone was actually set on a live photo. And so when I'm taking the picture, I watch the tail go from this to flagging. And I dropped my phone and I reached for my baton because at that moment he was already here. Oh, so between me dropping my phone and reaching for my baton, he had already bit me and I didn't even know. I did not even realize I was bit. And so at that time, they both came at me. And so it's me, two very bad bred bullies. And it's just me and them. It's dark. One street light, they get me back into my truck. I don't know how I did it, but I jumped from the floor into the cab of my truck and I'm still hitting them. And then at that time, they kind of retreated and I looked down and all I seen was blood. I had just seen blood dripping all over the white truck. I called dispatch and I was like, so calm. The dispatcher was actually more nervous for me because of how calm I was. I was like, dispatch, I was just attacked. I need sheriff. That was the fastest I've ever seen sheriff come for ACO assist. They came code 3. And then right behind them was the fire department. And then I was like, oh, look, it's girl power because there was three ladies out there. And so they came, they assisted me with the situation. Unfortunately, the most traumatizing aspect of this, the only thing that I cried about was the fact that I killed one of the dogs with my baton.
It's hard.
That's what made me cry.
Yeah.
I was crying and the sheriff deputies are looking at me and they were like, are you okay? And like, I'm holding the dog and I'm like putting her in my dog box and she wasn't doing well. And I knew she wasn't going to make it. So the dog bite, I was okay with. I still approach calls the same way I did before. You know, everything's okay. But the fact that I took that dog's life is what really, really traumatized me. And like my whole agency and all my coworkers, they've had to talk me off the ledge. And they were like, it was dark. It was 2 against 1. Like, you know, you were protecting yourself. And that's what a lot of people had to remind me of. And so the dog bite, 2 punctures. What was the issue was I was already receiving iron infusions from a previous health condition that I experienced in April. And so I was clotting.
Ugh.
I started to clot really, really bad. They had to go in there twice to remove blood clots. I ended up with Penrose drains in my legs. They look like little butterflies. I had to pack it. So I had to do wet to dry packing to leave it open by myself at home.
Mm-hmm.
It was awful.
That's wild.
I did that for about 6 weeks. Once it started to heal, physical therapy, a whole lot of physical therapy. This was June 21st, 2024. 2 weeks ago, I had an ultrasound on the injury. I have now developed a random pocket of fluid. They don't know what it is. And so now they want to cut me open again.
That's scary. When, like, I think when we look at that and like the aspects of this job, some teams don't even have a baton.
We
You know what
don't.
I'm saying? Your
We don't.
officers don't?
We don't carry enough. We don't carry nothing but a catch pole.
And it's like
Whew.
the baton may have saved your life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
The baton absolutely saved my life. At that point, they were smaller bullies. One was like a micro bully. The other one was a full-size bully. And all I can imagine was if when I was trying to back up, if I would have tripped, it would have absolutely been over.
damn. Well, I'm glad you were recovering okay. I hope everything goes good with this next plan that they're going to do with you, because that seems really tough. And some people I know, it's hard for them to recover and even go back out in the field. You know what I'm saying? So you getting that opportunity to just continue to do the job that you love, knowing that, yeah, it was a very hard day, and like you said, not because of the attack as much as that sucks. It was because of the outcome of the dogs. Did you ever find who owned the dogs?
No, but no microchipped, intact male, intact female. So they were the attacking dog was actually euthanized the following morning and sent
Okay.
over for specimen.
Damn. Well, let's change gears to something happy. So, when you won this award, you got an awesome gift certificate by Tomahawk Live Trap.
I went shopping already.
Hey, what did you get? Like,
What'd you get?
Yeah, we got to know.
Okay, so I have an officer at my agency. I call her my baby officer. Everybody, they just group us together.
Wait, is that the one you just spray with water?
No, she left us. That's the traitor.
Yeah, well, I'd leave you too if you was spraying me with water like that.
She left us. That was a memory of TikTok like 3 years ago. She left over to a different agency.
Got it.
So my baby officer, like I was going shopping and I was sending her stuff and I was like, should we get this? Should we get this? So I ended up getting my very own catch pole since I don't have a catch pole here at my house. I only have one while I'm working. I got a couple of the leashes where it's like the metal rope on the inside and it's covered in plastic. Because I generally don't use catch poles. Like I understand how they are an important tool. But I usually take my time and then instead of using a catch pole, I muzzle wrap.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, that's going to be great for muzzle wrapping. Padding for my traps. Because the baby officer, Kim, and we have our own traps. So I bought the special padding and then the padded handles for those traps. Because we get blisters from the distance that we have to walk those traps in the fields, or, we are county officers. So a lot of our calls are agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
So it's those good old dogs attacking livestock, but I don't want to shoot the dog because I love animals so much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing, I guess.
So a lot of it's like we're carrying traps into the middle of the field, and those traps are heavy.
Dog traps are heavy.
So I bought special padding for our hands, and a couple other things. Oh, and I bought a shirt.
Let's go. That's so cool. That's cool. I like to hear that. Well, we're proud of you, and it's cool to have an opportunity for you to just tell your story, let people know kind of your journey. Everybody has a different journey, but we kind of all have similar aspirations of this job, and it's good to see you out there, making your community safe, making people happy, and changing that dog catcher stereotype.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a couple dog catchers at my agency too. And I'm like, I'm not a dog catcher, I'm an officer.
Hmm.
I tell them that all
Thank,
the time.
thank you.
I always
I tell
correct
my
them.
guys all the time, like you're not you're an officer. When you tell somebody and you speak on the phone, you are officer blah blah blah. Whatever it is, you are officer.
Absolutely. Every time I get subpoenaed to court, that subpoena says officer subpoena.
Mm. You know what I did? I don't take away, or I don't want to take away any of that. I changed my approach to be like, hey, I'm Daniel. I'm one of the animal control officers. Like I used to do it that way instead of because my last name is hard to say and I mumble. So like when I'm like I'm Officer Ettinger, like people don't listen to that. But everyone knows a Daniel, you know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
to me it was just like, hey, I'm Daniel, one of the animal control officers. How's it going? Right? I don't do that anymore because I'm not in the field. I sit in an office, which I love, absolutely love. And so I still try to introduce myself the same way. Hey, I'm Daniel. And then I just go into like my thing. So, but I'm good. Glad you got to take pride in that. You got to take pride in that officer thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We should be respected like everybody else in the industry of public health and safety.
Yeah. I mean,
100%.
absolutely. It's in the county that I work for a county where the sheriff's department, the firefighters, and even the code enforcement officers, their faces, they light up when we show up because they're like, yes, we don't have to deal with the animals anymore. Like we get more respect from agency assist than some of the public because they're just so excited because they're scared of animals. They're scared.
I'd be more scared of the people you have to deal with out in the world
I
because people are gross and scary.
I say that all the time. I was like, you get to deal with the people. I will take on the animals anytime. Call me day or night. I will be there.
I do have a question for you, Jessica. What do you see for our profession in the next 5, 10 years?
Um, so since I've started as an animal control officer, I've watched it like the us getting more respect. I've watched it kind of gain. Like we are getting more respect. We are getting, recognized by other agencies, by members of the public. But like we talked about earlier, like state to state, it is so different. I planned on moving out of California last year. I ended up staying, but I had applied for an animal control officer in Illinois. And when they contacted me, she was like, it's only $18 an hour. And I was like, I know, but that's what you have. So that's what I'm gonna take. I do foresee it getting better. I do see that, more respect and people truly understanding what we do, that, I just don't drive around and pick up dead animals all day. So sorry, you guys, that dog was on the side of the road for 5 days. I was, dealing with a 5-year-old that was bit in the face from the neighbor's dog, or my current vicious situation where we cannot trap these 2 German Shepherds that killed over 20 livestock. Like, I apologize, but we'll get there eventually. But that's just kind of at the bottom of our priorities right now. I do see it getting better. As for the population in our shelter, I don't foresee that getting better anytime soon. I just see that continues to increase. On Tuesdays, I do overtime at the agency and I work our intake desk. And so, that's where the public brings in all their animals. So every Tuesday, I get a taste of how many animals we actually impound a day. And just today alone, I took like 5 injured ferals, 8 Chihuahua puppies, 2 litters of kittens. So it was intense today. So the population of animals and exactly what we're going to do with that, I don't see 5 years. I don't see it getting better in the next 5 years. But I see that, we are getting more important slowly, and that people are recognizing, what we do, especially with a lot of these major cases actually making the news finally. People get to see, oh, look, animal control did this. We actually just made the news on Valentine's Day for an agency assist. We've had some nasty rains here, and a creek over flooded, and there was 2 dogs tethered at a encampment, and fire had to go in and get them out, and we were right there on dry land ready to pick them up. In December, my partner and we were involved in a huge cockfighting ring, made the news. And so I know that with more cases that make the news and the public seeing exactly what we do to assist out, I think it's going to really help. It's going to really help us get the respect and people to have the knowledge of exactly how important we are, and that, we should be respected, and we are needed, and we deserve to make more money.
Yeah,
Hell
absolutely.
yeah.
Say it louder for everybody to hear that, because that's what we were talking about. It is an undervalued profession in a lot of ways, and we appreciate you, and we're glad that you got an opportunity to be recognized for the hard work that you're doing, and that goes to all the officers. We know we can't give everybody the award. If we could, we would. We hope that at the end of this year, there's good nominations as well, and continue to just showcase it. This job is a thankless job at a lot of times, and so having those opportunities to give back means a whole lot to. I know personally, it means a whole lot to me to be able to say, "Hey, Jessica, we appreciate the work that you're doing. Keep it up. We need people like you in this profession."
You know what? And I absolutely appreciate it. I know I do some things a little unorthodox, but I get the job done, and I get the public to relate. And I remember I kept getting in trouble at my agency for just little itty bitty things. And our district attorney, she told me at an event, she was like, Solano, if you're not pissing people off, then you're not doing your job for the public.
Facts.
Like, thank you, Hillary.
I know I'm pissing a few people off right now in the industry, so my hat's off to them. As I said before in an email that I just shared with them, they're more than welcome to come back on the show and talk. And that's right, welcome to come back on the show, because they've been on the show before. But they want to hate from a distance, and it's how are we going to get anything accomplished that way, right?
Exactly.
So watching Bishop's face when
Look,
I said that,
I seen it. She's like, I don't want to be there.
She's like, Daniel, do we really have to go there? But yeah, in all fairness, like I have zero animosity towards anyone in our profession. If you're trying to help an animal, I like you. You're a good person. I think that we can talk about ways to get there in different avenues and certain ways to do it. But if we're not willing to have those hard conversations, then we can't progress. And we're going to have those problems of overpopulation, and we're going to have that division, and we're going to have things that at the end of the day will not allow us to heal from the history of this profession. And it's too bad. It's just too bad.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I agree. I agree. A lot of people, they get upset when they hear about, how I personally feel about things. I am a firm believer in behavior euthanasia. I always tell people that if I don't want that dog living next to me, that dog shouldn't leave the shelter. And I am a big advocate for behavior dogs. I just know that, there's certain animals that, it's safer for the public, and it's better for that animal just not to leave the shelter. So a lot of people don't like when I express that, and it becomes an argument for them. And I'm like, I don't want to argue with you. Let's communicate. Like, tell me how you feel. Why do you feel that way? Would you bring that dog into your home next to your 6-year-old autistic child? Because I wouldn't. So it's always, I'm not going to argue with you, but we can communicate.
Sure
but when
can.
you shut down and you're right and I'm wrong, that's when it's like, okay, this conversation can be over now.
Mm.
Agree.
What do you want our listeners to know? Is there anything that we didn't get a chance to chat about before we wrap up?
Put me on the spot. I don't know.
That's what we do here. All right,
That's what we do here. Woo. Um, no, not no. You put me on the spot. I wasn't prepared.
We yeah, we wanted your authentic self. We appreciate you allowing your family into this episode. That's really fun and cool to see. That's good mom work there. And
Yeah, you should have seen Mikey's face. He just froze, and he was covered. He was covering his shirt because we spent Christmas vacation in Vancouver,
mm,
and when we stopped, he bought a shirt in Weed, California, and so all the shirt says is "I love weed" really big, and then California really little, and so that's why he was scrunched down like this because he didn't want you guys just to see "I love weed." So it kind of made me giggle when I looked over at him.
no
He was
judgment.
all embarrassed.
I was 14 once. I get it. I
I'll
get
never, you couldn't pay me to be 14 again.
it.
Same. Same.
I don't know. With the way my ankle's feeling, I'll take 14 right now.
I was a terror.
Well, if you wouldn't do stupid shit, then maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, me not doing stupid stuff means that the earth has ended or I have ended, one of the two, whichever comes first. But apparently there's a meteor coming to the earth in the next 5 years, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay. Well, Mount Shasta out here is supposed to erupt in like 12 years again. So, we'll see what happens from there.
God, that's all you guys need is fucking fires and now
Volcanoes.
What the?
And then we had floods.
Jesus.
Like,
Oh, the floods.
It's rough.
Earthquakes in SoCal, Welcome.
I've yet to feel one. I think they're fake.
You think they're fake?
I've been down here now over a year and a half, and I'll go on social media and I'll be like, there was an earthquake, and I'm like, what are y'all talking about?
We had one down here in NorCal not too long ago. Our officer that was working in north of the county, she got the warning on her phone, and she was terrified. She was like, "I'm coming back to the south. I don't want to be out here," because it was felt in like the Chico area, north of us, and she got the warning because she was at the deepest north, and she was terrified.
But like, am I supposed to feel something?
She said she didn't feel anything, but when we started watching the news, you see all the cans falling off the shelves at the store and people's pools.
I want to be like laying in bed and it just happened, and I'll be like,
hell no. Give me a Category 5 hurricane any day. No damn earthquakes. Oh no. Absolutely not.
Them hurricanes are no joke.
No, they're not.
No joke. No, thank you.
I'd rather do that over not the earth moving when it's not supposed to. No, no ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, we greatly appreciate you. You're always welcome on the show.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
You are an official ACO of the year. So again, wear that with the pride that you have for this job. We know you will.
I absolutely am.
And sorry if that hoodie came like it was printed at a sweatshop in China, because it probably was.
I got it a couple days. I got it a couple days.
Does it look okay though? Because mine, the one I got, I was like, it's a little bit. So I'm working on a new vendor for that. But
it's I can tell you later.
Yeah. See, I told you they did not turn out.
You warned me.
I did warn you. I was like, what is wrong with this thing? Okay, well. At least you got the nice award. That's all that matters.
I do. And I shared my stickers with Kim. So she was happy. Cool. She was like, it's your award. And I was like, I know, but we always say that it's a two-person's job. And when one of us gets in trouble, we both get in trouble. So I might share with you.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Bishop, you got anything else before we go to bed? Because you know how it is out here.
It's past her bedtime.
Everybody, yeah. My bedtime too. And I'm not even in the Texas time.
What is it? 7 o'clock for you guys over there? 7:45?
It's almost 8. It's almost 8.
Almost 8.
No, I mean, just for everybody, and including you, Jessica, just keep up the good work, man. If you don't hear it from your superiors or the community, know that all of us in the industry got your back. We know what you're going through on a daily basis. We know what you're getting from the community. We know that it's never ending. We know that it's tough, and we support you. And to all of our listeners, if you ever need somebody to chat with, or you wanting to speak to one of us specifically about anything, please reach out. I just think that there's not enough support in our industry, not only from the community, but amongst ourselves. I feel like there's just so much challenging energy out in the world, in our field, in animal welfare in general. And it's just, we need to support each other in order to help the animals that we come in contact with every day. And we're proud of you. We're proud of you. Jessica, you're an amazing human being. It's obvious from all of the nominations we got from you and all of the words that were said. You know, kudos to you, girl. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good fight. And, you know, one day, one day,
One day.
one day.
One day. Well, as we say always at the show, we would like to continue to
Help people.
help animals.
Keep it.
I just wait for that now because it's the best thing ever.